Alrighty. I don't know if I can edit that part, but it's definitely some stuff that is weird. The live
It
was giving me a
is.
little bit of problems, but anyway, moving forward. All right, we're live. It's all good. This is a part two. My iPhone has been tripping out on me, saying that I didn't have the storage to run another pre-recorded video, but regardless, this is going to be the second part of the video that I've already have put up, and it's just talking about questions that you must have answers to if you are trying to buy a food service business. All right, so or must have answers to if you're trying to have your own business. So this is very much a entrepreneurial focused session. So I want to leave a part with the viewers here. A lot of the things that in regards of questions and in regards of things that you should know even outside of your questions, that you need to have to be a more efficient and effective entrepreneur. All right, because look, at the end of the day, no matter what you do, you are putting up a lot of money on both ends, whether you're trying to start your own business or you're trying to buy a franchise itself, right? So this is some of the things, and we're going to lead right into where I left off of the first video, right? So you got me. So you're looking at this, right? So if they have any questions, right, I need you to focus. All right. So going from the basic questions where you're think about it, you're looking or you're talking to a franchise sales rep or possibly the franchisor themselves. So it's a dance. It's a smooth dance between yourself and the sales rep or the franchisor. They are asking you questions, and just like any interview setting, you are there to ask them more questions. Why? Because it's your money that is going into this system that you believe in and entrust in buying, that's going to give you a stronger return at some period or point in time. All right. So picking up where we left off from the first video. Basic question. How long is the franchise agreement term and what are the renewal conditions? Very important question because you want to know how long you are married to this particular franchise, because get this, no matter if your franchise system is doing exceedingly well or you are suffering, your business is suffering, you're not bringing in no cash, the terms in the contract is the terms. So if you are locked in for 10 years, so the average contractual term for a large national brand or a global brand especially is 10 years. Now, if you are dealing with a franchise system, and say the franchisor have like 25, 30 units, and they're like, hey, look, I want to get into the franchise system so I can expand my business. That type of franchisor would typically have a 3 to 5 year contractual term system going, right? And these are non-negotiables. So don't ask, you go to a franchise show and you feel as though like, okay, this is not a McDonald's, this is not a you won't see a Chick-fil-A, but this is not a Wingstop or whatever, right? Don't feel as though because the franchisor may be smaller in units that there is some wiggle room in their system, because it's not. 3 to 5 years is 3 to 5 years. You want to make sure that you are protected. There is an exit system. We're going to get into that question lineup a little bit later on. But you are protected before you even step in to your actual franchise as a grand opening, right? or even more if you want to take it a little bit further back, your FDD. And your FDD, which is a franchise disclosure document, which we'll get into a little bit later, you want to make sure you're protected, okay? So again, how long is the franchise agreement term, and what are the renewal conditions? If they don't know how to answer that question, go to the next franchise system, all right? There are some red flag questions that I'm going to make known to you, and if the franchisor deflects, don't give you an answer or anything in between that realm, stop questioning, move on, all right? Remember, you are in control. Next question, what territories are available, and is there territorial protection? All right, so when you're talking about these things like territories, when you buy a franchise, okay, y'all, you actually are typically protected within, on average, a 5-mile radius. So look at this, like this. Pinpoint your address on some type of mapping system, put a circle on it, and then your secondary circle will be the outline of a 5-mile radius. So anything within that secondary circle is your protected territory zone. So the franchisor, as he or she will be picking up more franchisees in their systems, they are going to use a mapping system that will let them know, I have a franchise here, here, here. All right, this one is about 10 miles from the next one, so we could put one here. All right, if it's 5 or 6 miles, it gets kind of questioning, because you don't want to be like a Subway and oversaturate. You don't want to be a 7-Eleven and oversaturate. All right, it's very meticulous about how, you know, from a real estate perspective, how they locate the locations for you. All right, so remember, territories tend to be on average about a 5-mile radius. That's seemed to be the going standard for franchise systems. Now let's get into brand and business model. Okay, brand and business model. So before I even get started with this, these are different avenues, because I'm going to show you how to cook. There's going to be times where we're going to jump on a live session, and yeah, I'm going to be in the kitchen showing you how to cook. But look, my audience at 100,000 plus subscribers is broad, so I need to be able to speak to all of my audience, not just the foodies here that want to see something cooked in a kitchen. So I'm showing you my range and expertise in the food service business, all right? So anyway, brand and business model. You need to understand you're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars of your hard-earned money. Some people took 10, 15, 20 years of saving, hard savings, to be able to buy one franchise with the hopes of later buying more franchises, okay? You don't want to mess this money up. This is why this is important, all right? So, first question under brand and business model. What is the brand's unique selling proposition, which is called USP, unique selling proposition? A burger is a burger, a pizza is a pizza, a chicken is a chicken. These are the different type of restaurants, right? So when you're looking at these different type of food service businesses as a franchise, you need to see and especially know what is the unique selling proposition. What defines you as a food service business? What can I say, because my guest is going to come into my establishment and ask me, well, if you're making, if you're a chicken restaurant, how are you different from Popeyes, from a local shop, from KFC, you know, Church's Chicken, Bojangles? How are you different from any of these establishments because chicken is chicken, burgers is burgers, pizza is pizza. So what is your differentiating characteristics? This is what drives your business, all right? So you need to know this. What is unique selling proposition? If the franchisor or the selling agent for the franchise do not know how to articulate that answer, stop your questioning, move on to somebody else, all right? Next question, what are the most successful locations doing differently? Let's just say you picked a franchise, they have 1,000 locations. You picked a good national one, they have 1,000 locations. Of the 1,000 locations, let's say half of them, let's say 500 of them are doing exceedingly well. What are they doing? Are they following exactly and only your marketing plan that you have preset for every location? Is that the only thing they're doing? Or are they providing extended level of discounts? Are they giving out free samples? What are they doing to really stick out in their particular market and become successful? Because not every franchise is going to have successful franchisees. So it's an equal level playing field. And you want to know, within this small group here, what are the people, what are they doing that is making them successful? Because I want to duplicate all of their successful strategies into my franchise unit. All right, so get that. Next question. What is the AUV, average unit volume, or average annual sales? You got to be careful with this question. All right, this is the question that signifies to the sales agent or the franchisor that they're going to tell you, oh, we made 2 million in last year, right? They always, all of them, always puff up what they have actually made, all right, in regards of annual sales value. They puff up, they poof out the numbers. They're not going to give you hardcore exact figures, all right? So most of them will deflect. They will say that answer is in the FDD, and they will try to rush you to the FDD, the franchise disclosure document. They'll rush, hey, whoa, slow down. This is a simple question that as a business owner or a business representative, you need to know the answer to. And I want the hard number, not the inflated number that you got plastered all over your marketing materials in this franchise show or on your website. All right? So don't let them deflect you. Next question. What are the typical profit margins? I would say 95+% of any professionals you talk about will definitely avoid answering that question for sure, right? Because they'll say FDD is too many locations to figure out, and they don't want to tell the official numbers of what other units are doing. This is part of your own due diligence. So if they deflect the answer, then your follow-up have better be, well, if it's within the FDD, can I also have a list of franchisees' contact information so I can reach out to them directly and get this answer from? All right? Don't just stop at whatever Joe Blow crap that they say. Further that questioning. All right? Next question. How many locations have opened, closed, or changed ownership in the past 3 years? Look, there's going to be this glitz, this glam. There's going to be a showboatiness regarding this question. a lot of franchisee or franchisors, they only want to showcase the best numbers. And they may take recorded numbers within their first, second years. They'll take their best year and they will cling on that, and then they'll put it on their website. They'll put it in the marketing materials, the brochures, all of this stuff. Look, people, you have to know the open and close ratios. It is critical, all right? How many franchises have you opened in 3 years? How many franchises have you closed in 3 years? So if you see within when they first started the franchise, the first 5 years of that, and you see a steady number growing up. So they started with 1 in their first year, and then later on that year, they went to like 80. And then within 5 years, they grew to, let's say, 500. I like using round numbers. 500, right? In 5 years. Okay, that's not a bad average. A little around 100 a year. Okay, that's cool. Now, of that 500, let's say 200 after year 5. So year 6, you see the new reported numbers. Year 6, 200 have fallen off, but 30 came back on. So now you go from 500 year 5, year 6, you're at 330. Whoa. Red flag. Stop, slow this down. Now we got to get into the change of ownership. What happened to those numbers that fell off? What happened? Did they all, within a 5-year window, did they all experience a slight growth but more struggle? And now they're like, yo, I can't, the system is not sustainable. I need to download this. I need to recoup some kind of money back before I lose everything. If I'm spending, $400,000 on this one franchise, and the franchisor has lost almost a third or a quarter of their franchisee, that means that this is a bad franchise that I got involved with. Why did they leave? Or did half of those numbers, or a good portion of those numbers, did they leave because they've been in a business a long time, they want to retire, they want to will the franchise system off to their kids, to their grandkids, or sell it? What is the reason? That's a red flag question you better get the answer to, all right? That's part of your due diligence, because there's plenty of people that brought a Quiznos subs thinking, hey, this is better than Subway. They got a strong buzz. They got athletes, entertainers, whatever, as spokespeople. Hey, Quiznos subs, man, this is it. Rally the troops, rally the investors. And then lo and behold, it was an epic fail. So make sure that is not you. All right? Now, we're about to get into something that is hypercritical. Training and support. Now listen to this. Listen very carefully. I'm going to slow this down a little bit for you right here. Training and support is the lifeblood. This is how you succeed, because you as a franchisee, even if you have some relevant experience in that field, okay, you're still going to be faced with questions you need answered to. Training, you need to provide training, quality training for new employees, all right? So a few things, all right? Start the question off soft, an easy question. What kind of initial training is provided? All right, you want to know. We're in 2025. You want to know, hey, if I spend X amount of money, what can I expect in regards of level of training? What can I expect? All right. You're paying out a lot of money. You better have some answers, or somebody within your system to provide the type of answers. Now, next question. Is there ongoing training or support? So you just jumped into the system. You're happy. Your family and friends should be happy. All right. Ongoing training. As you further your experience with this particular franchise in your market, you're gonna want to have a lot of training for your employees. Sometimes your employees go from regular employees to management. What is the training for that? Right? Because in a franchise system, you can't do what you want. It's not your business. A franchise system is just like Chick-fil-A. All right? There's systems that's in place that you must adhere to at all time. And you cannot step outside of that box at no time. All right? So next question. What kind of help is offered for site selection and build out? Now, you got to be careful. So you can expect that level of service with national and especially global brands, because they have the financial infrastructure to hire a massive team of real estate professionals, real estate developers, construction managers, all of that stuff, that could find these different sites for you, do a hardcore demographic search, site selection, demographic search, make sure that the area warrants what you're trying to introduce. And then on top of that, a construction team that could go to the site and then set up the whole thing for you. Coordinate with the local businesses. Hey, I need this sign put up. Hey, I need this floor right here. Let's order this and this. Let's get this paint put up, this tile put up here. Let's have order, the low boys, the refrigeration units, the walk-ins, the burners, the flat tops, all these, the deep fryers, all these systems, right? The signage, the vinyl signage, all this, the small stuff, right? The drainage, set up all the contracts, everything. So you can expect that from larger national, global franchisors. Now, with smaller franchisors, it's going to be a different play. They're probably not there yet as in depth, right? So they will say, yeah, we will help you. So what they would do is they will contact a commercial real estate agent within your area, and then connect that person to you, typically. And then y'all will go out and do some site searching. But in large, it is on you to make sure that you find the perfect site, right? But there will be some a little bit of assistance to help you get over that little hump. So before you move on, have the answer to that question. All right. So next is, what support is available for marketing and local promotions, right? Marketing and local promotions. I know a lot of people that go into business, and honestly, a lot of people are actually better than franchisors, marketing teams. Now look, here's a red flag. If the person you're talking to, the representative of the franchisor, say, oh, we use Facebook, we use Instagram, and those are the ways that we market. Well, I hope that you've been paying attention lately, because when TikTok went through that one day situation where it was technically turned off, let's say turned off, right? The entire United States got infuriated with the Meta platform, Facebook, Instagram. Millions of people have deleted their Meta profiles. So is it smart to use Meta in that sense? Any Meta platform, WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram. Is it really smart to have that at the core center? Things is changing. Companies, they need to look at and make sure, hey, TikTok, that's the leading social media platform that is being advertised on and used. All right. Let's even look at Lemon. Let's look at Fan Base, an up and coming social media platform. Are they utilizing these platforms? Are they utilizing LinkedIn to advertise on it? So you want to have a strong handle. Hey, I understand that y'all have certain systems that y'all utilize to market all franchisees in their locations. Is there any room where I can utilize certain platforms of my choosing to market my franchise location? That should be a follow-up question. All right. Next question. Do you provide assistance with lease negotiation or construction? That is another question that still ties in with the whole real estate aspect of franchising. Lease negotiations, construction is very similar to like what I've previously stated. You don't have to have a thorough knowledge of lease negotiations. That's why there's other professionals, again, going back to commercial real estate brokers or agents, right, that can represent you on a lease. You can, if the franchisor do not provide that service, you can talk to one of them. They have a fiduciary responsibility to you, right? So they will go on a bat for you, and even if you don't ask or have them ask certain questions, they will take it upon themselves to ask all the right questions. All right, and then once you find a good commercial realtor, keep them in your pocket, because you might need to go back to them and make them a part of your internal team. You could go back to them and say, hey, where the first location is doing good, I want to go find another location across town, right? So keep them on your back pocket, man. It's cool. You need to build your team even outside of the franchise structure in their team. Build your own personal team, right? And then meet somewhere in the middle. All right, so next question. What systems are in place for operations, inventory, and staffing? Food service business. If you've been living under a rock, I'm going to get you from underneath that rock. It is challenging finding quality talent, not only to hire, but to convince these people to stay within your business. All right. We all know the food service industry is really a revolving door of people. You're going to get a lot of high schoolers. You're going to get some college students that only see your business as a way to fill in the void of now. Very few people will get into this business and see it as an actual career. These are the realities of this type of business. So go into it with those expectations. So you gotta have a very good way of pulling and marketing your business opportunities to the local community. So you want to make sure from an operations perspective that everything is tight. From an inventory perspective, you're getting the best rates from vendors, and usually franchise systems are already mapped that out for you. They already got a choice vendor or selection of choice vendors where going through the franchise name, you get a much more reduced rate than trying to do this yourself. And then again, ending with the staffing situation. Go with the franchise system, and then sometimes you may have to take it upon yourself to look at hospitality related staffing services. Employ that service and then keep them as part of your internal team. It's got to be the connection of both. You cannot rest your success or failures 100% on the franchisor. There's a lot of things that you got to do, because at the end of the day, even though you are a franchisee, it is still your business that you paid into. All right. Next question. Do you require specific vendors or equipment? So I kind of went into that. Obviously, a majority, if not all of the franchise food service systems out there, they do have their own specific list of vendors. It may be for your food, Cisco, Gordon Foods. There may be, specialty vendor for your packaging and stuff is probably coming from their corporate distribution center. And then for the local stuff, that's probably going to be based on you, right? So they may give you an idea of, say like plumbers, electricians, people that come out and, run your HVAC or fix your restaurant equipment if needed. They may have something in their system, or obviously have the ability to look for vendors and vet them and then give them to you and you pay. But these are the answers that you need before signing that franchise disclosure document. Next question. What are the biggest operational challenges current franchisees have? Those are one of those, let's say, red flag questions, because that question will force and show you that the franchisor have his or her pulse on the other franchisees, or are they set up to just take your money and then push you on the side, put your number up in the board and say, okay, good luck, right? If the franchisor know all of the challenges, that is a great indicator that franchisor knows exactly what is going on within its own system and then within the market and industry at the same time. You want to be proficient in your business, all right? Red flags, man, red flags. A lot of questions. I got 31 questions that get you started. Questions that you got to know the answers to. Because if you don't, then you playing Russian roulette with your own money. And I don't know about you, if you have the abilities to lose 400, 500, 1.5 million, 2 million, and bounce back and say, oh, that's nothing money. I don't know. But this is why I'm taking my personal time and going over this stuff with you and trying to spend a little bit of quality time on each question, right? Instead of just blasting through and say, all right, y'all, that's it. Chef Prime, you know the deal, right? So let's spend some time on this, some quality time. All right, so the biggest thing, financial performance questions. You got to ask the right questions, all right? Can I see the FDD? Franchise, wait, don't get ahead of me. Franchise disclosure document. Now get this is the kicker. Especially, hit your ear, especially item 19, which is the financial performance representations. Surface level question. Can I see the franchise disclosure document? Man, here. It'd be about 200, 300 pages. Good luck reading through it. You gonna read the entire thing? You? Yeah, you could and you should. But for very targeted questioning in your franchise disclosure document, can you pull up item 19? You want to have a line item breakthrough that shows all the money coming into the franchisor system, all the money that's going out, all the money that's spent on marketing, all the money spent on operations from a headquarter perspective, all the money that's collected from franchisees, all of this, the that, the this, the that. You want to see all those numbers represented by line items. Item 19 specifically asks for that page, all right? If they don't want to show you, it's not totally a red flag, just get the FDD, take the FDD. I want y'all to look at me on this part. Take the FDD and do not try to read it and understand it yourself. Take it to a franchise lawyer. The legal field is very similar to the medical field in specialties. You just can't get a business lawyer and say, okay, here's the packet, FDD, I want to get a franchise, this is their FDD, just read through. No, you need to ask specifically a business lawyer that specializes in franchising, all right? Don't do it yourself. You're going to miss out on a lot. You're going to misinterpret. You're going to get lost, all right? Next question. What's the average time to reach profitability? These are one of the questions that the franchisor or the sales representative is going to deflect. They're going to be like, oh, I don't know. I could give you some of the franchisees' contact information. You can ask them specifically, right? They know, y'all. They know. But what happens is them telling you is not always a good thing. It's not going to be a good selling point. Remember, their job is to sell you a franchise. Just like if you were looking for a car or if you're looking for a house, you got to know the right kind of questions. Is this a lemon? Is this a flooded car? Is there any known engine problems or mechanical situations with a house? Have anybody died in this house? What is there any liens on this house? Anything preventing me from securing a mortgage? Blah, 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 what's the taxes? Blah, 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 right? So it's the same type of question. What's the average time to reach profitability? These are a series of numbers that the franchisor or the sales rep know. They already know it, but they don't want to tell you. Try to get it from them. And if they do not tell you, then it's a red flag. Why would you want to know this? Why would you want to squeeze it out of them? Very simple. Very simple. Because you're putting all of your hard-earned money into one system, and you are banking on the fact that if I put $400,000 into this franchise, I'm not only going to make my money back, but I'm going to become profitable at a period of time. You don't want to put your money into a system where it's like, man, in 5 years, I'm going to break even. On the 8th year, I'm going to start to trend into profits. You don't want that. You want a shorter stream of your break-even point, and then after that, go roll right into profits, right? So think about it like this. If you buy a Popeyes, let's use this. If you buy a Popeyes, will it take you a shorter period of time to reach profitability or a longer period of time to reach profitability? Thank y'all. You start at zero, you gotta reach your break even, and then you get into profits, right? Hopefully profits. You don't want to, go from trending towards break even and then lose your money, right? So let's take Popeyes as a leading example. Now, if you were to buy a Chick-fil-A, if you were selected, right? Because you don't just buy into it, you got to get selected. If you were selected to own a Chick-fil-A, how long do you think your profitability will take you, right? Is it a long time? Is it a shorter period of time? Is it the shortest period of time in the franchise space, right? So look at it like that. And you need to know the answer, because once you open up your business, your franchise, you're going to be working this thing, and you're going to have money allocated to continue to keep you afloat, right? Your rent, your mortgage, your car bills, your utilities, and all of this stuff, right? The basic stuff that you need to survive. So keep that in mind. Next question. Are there financing options available through the franchisor or third parties? Most of the bigger franchises, they are going to have third-party financing. They're going to be working with different banks, lending institutions, SBA, stuff like that, where you can secure financing because they are tried, they're true, they're proven as a solid investment, right? So banks or the SBA feel comfortable knowing, oh, you want that franchise? Well, we already got a historical fact and figure that this franchise has been performing great, and all of the franchisees that went into this franchise system are, there's a higher percentage of them that succeed, or there's more of them that succeed than lose. So we love the ratios. We feel comfortable with it. So yeah, you good, right? Now the smaller startups, it's a hit or miss. Most of the time they won't be able to provide, because they themselves as practitioners, they got to prove themselves as a valuable and reliable business model, right? So small franchisors, nah. Bigger national to especially the international ones, yeah, they want to have third party mostly. Very seldomly, you will find a franchise system where they have internal financing. Very seldomly. All right. Do we have any questions before we move on?
No.
All right. Perfect. So next one, franchisee experience. All right. Can I speak with current and former franchisees? You want to have that good balance. There's reasons why franchisees moved on and passed the franchise. You want to get their perspective. Why did you move on? Was it a good experience? How was the franchisor? Did they treat you well? Did you have questions and they made themselves readily available with an abundance of resources, or were they garbage bags to you? Current franchisees. How long have you been with this system? Month over month, have you seen a slight steady increase in profits? What was your weekly sales like? Stuff like that. You want to get the matrix on both sides. All right. How do you handle franchisee disputes or performance issues? You want to be careful. Again, you're married to the franchisor for 10 years on average. If something happens that caused you to feel like you want to step out, you want to break that whole marriage, right? You want to get a divorce from the franchisor. Is it going to be clean or is it going to be sloppy? So contractually, know what you're getting into. How does a franchisor handle disputes? Do you have to pay for an early release? Are they going to allow you to sell that franchise to perspective that you have to go out and sell and vet and do all this stuff to? What is your exit, right? Next question. How do you handle what's your franchisee turnover rate? a lot of franchisors is not going to tell you or want to tell you because that put a bad spotlight on them. They don't want to tell you the turnover rate because it's them putting up a mirror to their face and showing how suck they are as leaders. So that's a bad sales proposition. I will honestly be surprised if they will give you the answer to that. But please get the answer. These are questions that you really got to fight for, all right? Because you don't want to be that next victim. And then once you give them the money legally, you're not getting the money back outside of extreme circumstances. But if your franchise failed, that's the risk you took, all right? So make sure you get all of these answers. Now, next question. How involved is the franchisor in the day-to-day business of the franchisees? You don't want a franchisor that's going to micromanage you, right? You want a franchisor to have a solid system in place and check in periodically to make sure that you are, as a franchisee, running your business the right way, right? And also, really make sure that, hey, if you have any questions on my circle, hey, I'm around. We're making, corporate visits. We're doing, Zoom meeting conferences. I'm available to you. You want a franchisor to still have their pulse in the market that cares about you and is making themselves readily available to assist you and help you grow and scale your business. All right. And again, these are not all, questions where it's specifically for franchise systems, right? If you are a person that wants to get into business, these are the same questions that you need to be able to answer yourself. Whether you want to get into a business and then later on franchise it, but just in good business measures. This is the kind of questions that you need to ask yourself and have an answer to. All right. So the more of these questions, and watch part 1, but more of these questions that you are able to answer, it will just make you a much more stronger CEO, operator, whatever title you want to give yourself. All right. So at the end of the day, all of these questions is good for any industry, franchise, startups, whatever, right? All right, so marketing and growth. There's a whole strategy of marketing and like scalability with your franchise. Eventually, you're going to want to have more than just one franchise. And these are the questions that you ask to see if scalability is a actual thing that could be executed within this franchise system that you're looking at. So this question is, what national or regional marketing campaigns do you run? And I will also put on that, what platforms? Is it media? What media publications? Be really targeted. Are you on commercials? Are you on the radio? Newspapers, even though that's super old, right? But social media, and then what specific radios, TV commercials, on channels? What are you doing? Where are your marketing efforts is going to? Because if I'm spending 3%, and I talked about this in part 1, if I'm spending 3% of my gross profits every month, and I'm giving 3% of that to you as a franchisor because that's the advertising percentage, marketing percentage, right? I want to know exactly where is my money going, and you need to be able to articulate that to me. All right. Next question. Do franchisees contribute to a marketing fund? If so, how is it used? I was just talking about that, right? What is the percentage? The average percentage for marketing and advertising is about 2 to 3%, right? Okay, cool. Where is that going? I want it itemized. Where is it going? Send me the report, Excel spreadsheet, whatever. Itemize it. All right? Remember, it's a 50-50 relationship. You got as a franchisee, you got a lot of control, you got a lot of say, you got power in your voice. All right? Next question. How do you support digital marketing, social media, SEO, which is search engine optimization, delivery apps? That's a huge thing. There's a problem that's being talked about in the food space of delivery apps charging the operators too much money. And we already know in food service, entrepreneurship, the profit margins is razor thin. Razor thin. Food costs going up. Leases and rents is going up. Employees want more money. They're going from $15 to now $20 an hour with benefits. All of that is going up, right? Utilities is going up. Everything's going up. The cost to run water, to run lights, that's going up, right? So you want to, you want to be able to know, since everything's going up, where is it going? How much? All right? As a franchisee, as a business owner, it is mandatory. When they say you got to know your numbers, you got to know where your money is going. Where is it coming in from, and where is it going? Right? You got to know everything. You got to be a sniper with those levels of numbers. All right? Next question. What are the expansion plans for the brand over the next 5 years? Are they continuing to expand into more territory? Is this franchise system on the East Coast, and within the next 5 years, do they want to expand into the West Coast and everything in between and become a true national brand? If it's a national brand, do you have 5-year plans of going international? What is your strategy? Are you capping off certain areas and withholding the openings of franchise locations, right? Are you trying to slow the flow of people coming into your franchise so you could grow more strategically and organically, opposed to, hey, we on this high, we ride this wave and we're taking on anybody and everybody, right? And then you get into oversaturation, like 7-Eleven, like Subway, and stuff like that, right? So what are your plans for the next 5 years? It's a simple, soft question. All right. Very, very, very important. As you start, you need to know your exit, okay? So exit strategy questions, and this is the last one, and it's only 2. All right, first one. What is the process for selling or transferring my franchise? You want to be able to transfer your franchise to a loved one. This is the whole purpose of getting into business, whether it's a startup or a franchise. Look, if I'm going to be the first in my family to buy a franchise, I need to know if I scale it up to 10, 15 locations, I could transfer the franchise ownership to my kids, to my loved ones, right? If a franchise say, well, no, then yeah, you stop the questions and move on to somebody else, because that's one of the biggest red flags. Oh, I can't transfer? So you're saying that when I'm done with this and I want to retire and live on my money, I have to turn all of these franchise units back to you and then you are going to absorb it as corporate owned franchise locations. I can't will it off to my kids or just give the LLC ownership to my loved ones. No, I can't do it. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am, for your time and consideration. I got other people I need to talk to. That's it. All right. Last question. Is there a resale value or buyback program? All right. Some franchisors, if you have discrepancies, if you feel as though, hey, this franchise is not for me, I brought it, we're suffering through sales, I'm not that one to get over this and figure it out. I just want to step out, or again, I just want to retire, right? And I don't have no loved ones to give it to. You want to make sure that that company is in a financial position to actually buy back, all right? Because there's some companies, even though they may have thousands or hundreds of locations or whatever it is, they are not in a position to buy back their franchise units, all right? So you want to make sure, kind of what is the financial health of your franchise, right? Are you able to buy it? If I come out of pocket and I buy 10 units, let's say if this is a startup, right? They got 30 units. They was like, hey, we're doing pretty good. Every location is above 1.8, 1.9 million. We could franchise. I feel comfortable franchising. We got our systems and SOPs in place. We got our operations, everything, leadership, training, everything is in place. Let's go and franchise, right? So let's say I'm a multi-millionaire, man, I've been doing my thing in another place of business, and I want to try my hand in a food service establishment. So let's say I go to this franchisor that owns 30 units and now franchise. And I say, hey, look, I want to start out with 10 units, right? Not saying I want to be a master franchisee. I just said I want to just own 10 units, right? Now, and then you hit them with that question. Hey, is there a resale value or buyback program? The smaller franchisor is going to probably have no way of paying you back if you try to sell it back to them. Honestly, they may try to keep you on board, resell all of your locations, and just have you there to assist probably in some way of training, and then as they sell location by location, and you do a cash out situation, and you could ease out and do the next thing, right? So when you're putting, and that's all the questions. So when you're spending a lot of your hard-earned money, you want to make sure that you ask the right questions. Get out of that subsurface level, easy peasy, only if you read through the website, you will find the answers there type questions, right? You gotta ask all of the hard questions. If you, on the flip side, want to start your business, anybody could get an LLC done by yourself, through lawyers, whatever the case is. Anybody could have a couple bucks and say, oh, that's a retail or inline space. I want to lease that space out. Let's put the letterings or the logo up, and let's get some racks, let's get some stove, whatever your business is. Anybody could do this, right? It doesn't take a genius to just constantly put out money, sign some contracts, and get stuff flowing, right? But if you want to be proficient, if you want to have longevity in the food business, these are the questions that you need to be able to answer for yourself. If you want to play it safe and you want to go the franchise route, just say, hey, look, I got the money. I don't got the time to be setting up those systems. I'm just going to put my money into a franchise because they got the teams, they got the know-how, they got the systems in place. It's a plug and play, and then I could just chill somewhere, right? Either way, you got to show a higher level of proficiency. And if you don't know what you're doing because you haven't been experienced in that particular industry you're trying to start a business in, you got to know how to ask the right questions and seek the answers. And don't leave until you get the answers. And if there's any red flags, if you're talking to one person, a sales agent or a franchisor, and they give you 2 red flags, stop all the questions. Thank you for your time, sir or ma'am. I gotta get to other people. Walk away, because the last thing you want to do is put your money into something and then figure out or find out later that it was the wrong choice. Because again, once you give your money to the franchisor, that is it. You are legally contracted and binded to whatever options and stipulations within that contract for the duration of the time period stipulated within that contract. So if it's 10 years, whether you're doing good or bad, you still got to pay that 3% going into advertising, that 6%, right, for royalties. I talked about that a little bit in part 1. 6% on average that goes to the franchisor for royalties every month, whether your business is doing good or bad, and it's coming off of gross, not net, right? Franchisor get paid first before vendors, contractors get paid, and then yourself. So this is a very hardcore system that you need to understand. And look, I'm not a consultant. I've been in the industry for 12 years. I've been in leadership positions. I've been a line cook. I've been a senior catering manager. I've been all of these things. I have my own food business. I've done all of this, and I got a hospitality focused, media business and a hospitality focused podcast, right? So I'm in the media space now. But if you have any questions about anything that I went over, please leave your questions in the comment section, and then periodically I do check and I do respond as much as possible to the questions. Now, if you have any extensive questions, we could go back and forth, but at that point, I will be your consultant, and there will be a fee, an hourly fee, no retainers, just by the hour. We will, this is really not negotiable, but if you have any questions that involves complexity of things, right? I'm not talking about the simple stuff, right? I'm talking about complexity things, right? Like creating a menu, figuring out the exact equipment you need, figuring out the placement of, your front of the house, back of the house, harder things that you need to consider when you're going over looking for the right location, stuff like that. I'm here. I could easily, run you through the gauntlet, but that will be on a consultative basis. All right. I'm not going to get into the hourly rate, and I'll just deal with that as it may come. But anyway, I do like talking about business and entrepreneurship, as well as cooking and showing you on that side as well. I do enjoy these type of times because not only I want to entertain you about hospitality, I do have a burning desire to educate you about the hospitality field. There's a lot of people that are in different periods of their lives. Some people are professionally wanting to cross over into this industry, and they may have a couple of questions. that they need answered before they make that switch, right? There's a lot of lawyers that become chefs, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. There's people in business that's in a complete different industry and see hospitality as a way to further their profits. And they need somebody to talk to so they can feel more comfortable about making their next round or rounds of investments. And I am that person that you can definitely talk to. As we go further into 2025, definitely continue to watch because I will be interviewing other food and beverage entrepreneurs in the hospitality space, obviously, and people that is in the hospitality space but indirect, right? So you're going to get an array and assortment of entertainment and education at the same time, and it's definitely going to be enjoyable regardless. All right, y'all. So I ain't going to hold you much. Chef Prime, you know what time it is. And thank you for your time. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, if you have any questions, leave your comments below. If you want to hire me as on a consultative basis, I'm here for you. You can do Zoom. I got other platforms to reach you. I got ways of accepting payment. I got it all under control, y'all. All right, y'all. Chef Prime, you know what time it is.